that did not happen. That's a lie. That's false. Because SpongeBob is actually the A in the LGBTQ community.
Who the starts a conversation like that? I just sat down.
Because if you don't know how sponges work, sponges reproduce asexually. They do not have sex. So SpongeBob, by default, would be asexual. Now, does he have some feminine qualities? Absolutely. Do you think in the future he might end up going by they them pronouns? Yeah, that's actually very possible. But SpongeBob is asexual. Now, when we go left to Squidward, I don't think mirror. Huh? What, Sway? Um, okay, so with Squidward, I believe, is contrary to popular belief. Oh, actually, no, that man's gay. That man is gay. And the reason why, because of Squidlium, or whatever his name, Squidlium. I think, no, he's not bi. He's not bi. No. When has he ever flirted with a woman in that show? When has he ever tried to get the attention of a woman in that show? Never. But he was trying to get Squidliam's attention. He was. He was. Oh no, he's hot! Remember that? Remember that? Should I remind you guys? Clock this tea. Exactly. Oh no, he's hot! Remember that episode where he was gonna hang himself? DL? Okay, he might be DL, actually. He might be DL. But, yeah, so SpongeBob's asexual, Squidward is gay. Patrick. I think Patrick might be pan. No, Patrick's pan. And the reason Patrick is pan, I can see him hooking up with any fish. Any fish at all. Heck.
You cannot be for real.
Heck, not even a fish. I can see like Sandy, for example. I can see him hooking up with Sandy. Okay? What does Polly mean? He's pan Polly? Pat Ace because he don't find none attractive? Like Willard? Okay. Well, Sandy wouldn't, because I have a theory there. But Patrick, for sure, he's pansexual. Now Mr. Krabs. Mr. Krabs is straight. Mr. Krabs is straight. However, Mr. Krabs is definitely, he can be gay for pay. He sold SpongeBob's soul for like 60 something cents. Oh, he will definitely be doing some gay stuff for money. He would suck a pee-pee for $1. Let's just say that. Let's just say that. Okay? Sandy, I don't think she's lesbian. I don't think she's lesbian at all, actually. I think Sandy might be straight. There's this common, no, she's not bi. She is not bi. That woman is not bi. Yeah, Sandy's straight. No, she's not bi-curious. No. I could see Sandy just liking men. And the reason I say this is because of her, is because of she's straight, but she would be the type to talk to her man and be like, yo, let me try to peg you. You know what I mean? Like maybe Sandy likes the idea of being with a woman, but she is not attracted to a woman. So she would be the type to like peg, you know? Like if Larry the Lobster was one day like, hey Sandy, we should hook up. Oh, she would go in a heartbeat. She would spread those legs immediately. But then it's like, you're like fucking underwater, but she only has a helmet. So like, how does it? Anyway, so like she would let Larry the Lobster. I could see Larry the Lobster and Sandy Cheeks being a couple. Okay. Um, but let me give you guys the lore, okay? So I can see Larry the Lobster and Sandy Cheeks hooking up. They're like that toxic couple that love each other but hate each other at the same time. Okay? I feel like Sandy would be like, Larry, come on, clap these cheeks, Larry. You know, because she's Sandy Cheeks. So she would be like, clap these cheeks. And Larry would clap those cheeks. A woman won't be able to do that to, unless she was like pegging her, right? But like that's why I think she's straight. I think at the end of the day, she's very, very straight. But she would be the type to peg a man. Okay. Um, now Larry the Lobster, he's a gym bro. Okay, he's a gym bro. I think he would be the one to be bi-curious. And the reason I say that is because I've gone to the gym. I think I've been hit on by some guys that look like Larry the Lobster. Hell, I've been hit on by some guys on the internet, on TikTok, who look like Larry the Lobster. And I think you know who. Okay, so now going back to the sexualities of SpongeBob, right? And then we got Larry the. Let's talk about Pearl. Let's talk about Pearl. Pearl is a 100% straight. Like you know that spectrum that I showed you guys. I think it was like a week ago. It's like the dumbbell spectrum, right? And there's like that 3% that's 100% straight, and that 3% that's 100% gay, and everybody else in the middle is some sort of bisexual or on the spectrum of bisexuality. Pearl is actually straight, like 100%. There's no Lebanese in her body. However, she is homophobic. She would be the type to like spit on a homosexual couple walking down the street. I just picture her as a Trump supporter, if I'm being honest with you. Like, I can see her being a Trump supporter in the SpongeBob. If Trump was a fish in Bikini Bottom, I feel like Pearl would 100% be obsessed with that man. She would be a Trump supporter. She would be wearing a Trump 2024 hat. We saw how she did. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. She is transphobic. Did you guys not see that episode? The way that she treated girly teen girl? Girly teen girl when she was coming over to that sleepover. I know it's you, SpongeBob. I don't know what you're talking about. My name is Girly Teen Girl. And then she like pulled her by her hair and then kicked her off. Damn. She humiliated her in front of her friends. No, exactly, Starlight. That's what I'm saying. You guys don't understand. She would be the most transphobic, homophobic person in Bikini Bottom. Okay? She would be the type to be like, protect our children when she don't even like look up anything on the internet to educate herself. She a little dumb. She a little dumb. She a little slow. Okay? If a person is telling you that there's somebody, you should accept it. She could get jumped underwater too. And her big ass nose too. Remember when they were doing that parade in the middle of the street? When they were doing that parade in the middle of the street, and like you see all those little dots of fishes, and then you see Pearl's big ass nose in the street. Remember that when they were practicing? She wrote the short sub. Now let's talk about Mrs. Puff. Let's talk about Mrs. Puff. I don't know if this is not a sexuality. She might be lesbian. She might. She might. She might. I believe it. However, she is a specific type of lesbian. And you know what kind? A furry. Yeah, a furry. A furry. Okay, you want me to explain? You want me to explain? I'll explain. Um, you see how Mr. Krabs and Mrs. Puff be flirting with each other and all, right? Like you guys have seen those episodes where they be flirting with each other. Um, yeah, Mrs. Puff is not attracted to him at all. She's just playing a game. She's playing a game. It's non-existent. There's actually no love coming from her. She's just trying to be nice and she's just trying to get her check because she knows the moment that Mr. Krabs dies, all that money that he's been hoarding is going to go to her. Okay? All that money that he's getting is going to go to her. And so you guys have seen her home, right? Mrs. Puff's home. It just gives off the when you look inside. Actually, let me tell you why. Let me look up Mrs. Puff's home inside because maybe some of you guys might not um remember, and I'll show you guys right now. Okay, Mrs. Puff's interior is very pink. Do you see that? She even has a picture of herself entering the doorway. You look at that old grandma cabinets, the plants, all that stuff, right? Um, Something about it screams I walk and run in all fours in this home. I don't know how to explain it, and I don't know if it makes any sense to any of you guys, but it does seem like that. She seems to not just be a furry, but also like a pterodactyl too, where she pretends to be like a dinosaur and like run like a dinosaur and stuff like that. You know, because she built like that a little bit, a little bit. She's kind of built like that. Um, but not only that. Let me try to find that photo that I've been. Give me one sec. Give me one sec. The body shame. No, I'm not trying to body shame. I'm not. I'm not. But it's the truth. Okay, it's the truth. Look at. Please, please tell me that this does not look like a furry. She is sitting on top of SpongeBob. Okay, on his face, on old ass lady. Okay, look at that little hat. That little hat should tell you that she likes to wear a tail on his nose. Uh-huh. I know the furries like them tails. Yeah, and she's that. And she's that. Uh I Is she gonna lean too far in and break his nose? That's crazy. Now let's talk about Gary. Gary the snail. Okay? Gary the snail. No, not too much on. No, you no, listen, listen. I think Gary would go by queer. The Q in the LGBTQ. I think Gary would go by queer because I just feel like he just doesn't have any labels, if I'm being honest with you. You know? He seems like the type to not really be going by any but I feel like not even exactly talk about you're getting what I'm getting at. I feel like Gary would go by they them. I think so. They them pronouns? Yep. Gary would go by they them. Like he, she, they. He would go by. Oops, sorry. Oh, they would go by all pronouns. All pronouns. Hmm. Um, they would go by all pronouns. But remember when he had that deep ass voice in that one episode when he was in SpongeBob or when SpongeBob was in his dream? Do you guys remember that? Do you guys remember that? Um, they're that seemed like a little sassy to me. Like they were very sassy, and um, but like also, masculine. Like they just give off everything, 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 everything. They are everything in the spectrum and everything without it. Okay, that's my conclusion on Gary the Snail. Plankton. Let's talk about Plankton. Straight, straight. That man is straight. Yep, straight, straight, straight. But he has little man. He has little man energy, and so he got to thrust harder. You know what I mean? Like he has to put in more work because he's making up for the size difference, right? So like, you know, because he's so small. Let's talk about Karen and Plankton's relationship. So because he's so small, Karen put that little aux port, not the aux cord, but like the port, the little hole where you put the aux cord. Plankton uses that as her pussy. Where's Demetrius? Send this to him, please. Demetrius, please write a fan fiction of Plankton putting it in Karen's aux port. Please, somebody send this to Demetrius. Please, please, please. We need to see this happen. Can we cuss in here? Yes, we can, Aiden. We can cuss. Even in the comment section. Pussy. Pussy. Yeah, so like, wow, this feels like a blunt rotation, and he the one doing all the talking. um, so yeah, I can picture that straight, straight, straight. Mm-hmm. Y'all remember Seabass, the one that hit the one that hid the pickles underneath his tongue? Y'all remember him? Seabass? Wait, did I say Seabass? I meant Bubble Bass. Bubble Bass. Such a Karen? Absolutely. Absolutely. I hate him. I would fight him if I. Big back. Are you feeling bloated again today, or is it Tyler's baby grown? No, I'm feeling bloated still. Like my stomach is still doing front flips and back flips. Um, I think that Bubble Bass is for sure gay. Um, for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure. Oh, the moment that her best friend comes, she bawls her eyes out twice. She's like, I've never seen her cry. Why did I see her cry? Fuck, fuck. I didn't think of it like that. Pussy. And there came a point where after she left, after the best friend left, she became even more angry and compared me a lot to her, the best friend. And I started getting frustrated. And I was like, at one point, I was like, you know what? I'm not her. That's your best friend. I'm your boyfriend. That's completely different. That's completely different things. Like that's somebody that has been part of your family for a while, right? I understand that. But the thing is, I can't give you what she gave you, and she cannot give you what I gave you, or what I can give you, right? Like I had to make it clear that this is this is how I feel, because a lot of times I just felt kind of left on the side, right? Left on the side. Um, and we never like did anything either. We were together for 2 years. No, actually, I was getting used in that job too. Like I was supposed to be getting paid $5 more than what I was getting. Actually, $6 more from what I was getting paid. But they gave me like small promotions, even though I was doing, whatever. Anyway, so I was getting small promotions, and I would be so happy about it, and I'd be like, "Yeah, I just got a promotion at work," and she'd be like, "Why'd they give you a promotion?" Like straight up like that. Why would they give you a promotion? And I'd be like, because I've been working there for a while. I've been working there for a while. I've been there for 2 years, and I've been working in the office, and I think that they like me in the office. And she's like, yeah, but like, you know, like why you don't have any experience though? Like you don't have any experience to do front desk or anything like that. Like why would they hire you? They should hire somebody that's more. And I would just be like, oh shoot, okay. Mind you, I got her a job there too. Anytime that we would play anything, like if we, for example, if we would go to bowling, she would get upset with me because I would be in the lead. She was very competitive, very, very competitive. She did not like to lose. Um, or like she plays softball, right? So one time with my parents, we were playing softball, and she was missing some of the hits. I did not miss any hit at all. I was hitting every single ball that was coming towards me. I was hitting them, and she got so upset one time that she threw the bat on the ground, and she's like, "That's not fair." In front of my parents, bro. She was white, by the way. Like that's not fair. I play softball. Friends of the same sex, opposite sex, I don't care because I'm adult enough to
Oh my God, it's not.
understand that you are in this relationship because you chose to be. And if you ever do decide to cheat, then the relationship is over. But I am adult enough to give you that trust that you want to be in this relationship, and I will not question it. I will not. Unless you give me reasons to question it, but I will not. So I was never the jealous type. And she had this like friend who she would call her husband, right? And I wouldn't care at first because I was like, oh well, they've known each other since like middle school, right? So I'm not gonna like intervene. I'm not gonna like try to put myself there, right? But there were moments where I was like, yeah, that's kind of weird though, like because it's clear to me that he likes you, you know? That's the difference. Like I trust you, but like with him, it was clear that he liked her, and so I was just that was like the only time that I would get jealous in a sense. But typically, I'm not a jealous person. But any time that I was talking with a girl, she would get jealous. She would get jealous. I've had in all of my relationships, every one of them have been jealous. Very jealous people. Hmm. But with her, it was different because it's like you. It seems like you don't like me, but at the same time, you're jealous. So which one is it? I think she liked the idea of being with me. Um, but yeah, no. She her mom, her mom, I told this story before. Her mom was the one that told me that, oh, I was about to say her name. Her mom was the one that told me that my ex's grandparents had Mexican slaves. Um, up there, in yep, that sounds crazy, but it's true. Like back when they were younger, I think it was grandparents or maybe it might have been great grandparents actually. Let's just keep it at great grandparents. The great grandparents had Mexican slaves, not paying anything. Like the Mexican slaves were picking strawberries and like picking fruit because so I don't know if you guys know this. There's obviously slavery with black people, but there is a portion of slavery that is not really talked about much, and it has to do with like Hispanic people um, who migrated to this country because of immigration and all that stuff. A lot of people utilize deporting people as like a weapon, and because of that, it still kind of happens today, but it happened a lot before, where they would threaten um, Mexicans to, or Mexicans to, they would threaten to send them back if they did not do slave work. So a lot of Mexican people, a lot of Hispanic people were slaves here on the West Coast, because here on the West Coast we have a lot of agriculture with like fruits and stuff. The West Coast, we are kind of the backbone of the country because we are the ones that provide most of these things. But Mexican people were in the fields um, um, on the West Coast. Some of my ancestors were also slaves here and on the West Coast in Oregon, I think, in Oregon and Northern California. Um, uh, there's like some history there. They never taught us anything about that. I've never heard of that. No, it's true. It's true. Now it's different. Even in the late 1900s, it's a little different. It wasn't slavery because they were paying them, but they were paying them like 2 cents a bucket, like 2 cents a bucket, like very, very, very small amounts. But they would offer them like little sheds and like shacks to sleep in. So they would give them a roof over their heads. They would provide food, but they were paying them very, very little for very extensive physical labor. Um, and now they still pay them very low, actually, because a lot of these, so a lot of his, and I'm going to go back to the story, but just to kind of educate you guys, a lot of Hispanic people who are immigrants in California who live in these agricultural counties, a lot of them are not getting paid minimum wage. If you guys think that they're getting paid minimum wage, you are crazy for that. Okay, minimum wage here in California is what, $16? They are not getting paid that. They're getting paid like $5, like $5, $6 an hour, in some places. But it's difficult to like report because they are not protected. They are not protected by the government, our government, because they are not legal citizens. Like some people are getting paid $5, $6 an hour. There are some people that pay them minimum wage, but some of them no. And it's actually nothing. Yeah, it's pretty messed up. It's pretty messed up. But they are not protected by the United States because they are immigrants, and a lot of these agricultural counties are in very conservative spaces. So a lot of these farms are owned by white people who know the weapon that they have, that they can easily deport them. Mind you, a lot of these families who are like, yeah, who are passive slaves in these spaces, a lot of them have families. So they can't risk getting deported because a lot of them have families who are here, who are like first gen, maybe some of them are not even first gen, maybe they brought their kids when they were young and they don't have papers also. But like it's some interesting stuff. I wonder if that's what's going on here. There's a lot of farms here. There's a lot of farms, but a lot of Mexican people are not protected at all. The United States does not protect them. So I there is modern day slavery, and modern day slavery, it's going to be different with black people and Hispanic people. I believe that there's modern day slavery with black people in so many ways, and mass incarceration is actually um, a representation of that. That is modern day slavery. But on the other end, with Hispanic people, they are actually experiencing it in a different way, where they are doing a lot of physical labor now, just as like black people did back then in when they were slaves and stuff. But mhm. My ex's girlfriend, whose grandparents I think were Mexican slave owners, um, told me, like, isn't that funny that, like, and he didn't even, she didn't even say it like in a, it's weird because she didn't say it in like a I don't like you type of way. Because she liked me, but it was weird the way she said it because she was like, yeah, isn't it funny that, like, now we have a Mexican in the family? I did not process that shit until I was out of that relationship. I did not process that until I was out of that. But that is some crazy things to say. Very, very crazy things to say. Um, and people were like, "Oh, you were in a get out situation," and I was like, "Oh shoot." And then my girlfriend at that time was like, "Oh yeah, they're rolling in their graves." Oh, I know the reactions you're making. I know. Um, yeah, I didn't see anything wrong with it at that moment. I think I was maybe just in a different headspace. Um, and also the way that they said it, it didn't feel like they were saying it in any negative way, you know? And but it wasn't until after that I learned how to process that. And I processed a lot actually after we broke up. I processed a lot. I had love for her. It's funny. You know what's funny? You know, like on TikTok, anytime that I mention like an ex and I'm like she, people are like, huh? And like I get it. I'm not like the most masculine man. I know, but I'm attracted to women, you know. I'm attracted to women. Like, I've had love for women, even like her, right? Even like her. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. But I've had love. I had love for her. Um, but I developed so many insecurities from that relationship, and that's how. And there were times where I was like, maybe I'm not attracted to a woman because of like, you know, TikTok and stuff, right? I was like, I started questioning like, damn, maybe I'm not. I wasn't attracted to a woman, but then I was like, nah, I am attracted to a woman because that shit hurt, bro. Like that shit hurt, and she needs to send you therapy money. Actually, let me write that down. I should talk about my exes with my therapist next. My therapist going through it, bro. My therapist is going through it. There has been a new topic every week, and my therapist since then every week has been messaging me, "Hey, are you okay?" The next day has been messaging me, "Hey, are you okay? I wanted to check up on you after our session yesterday." And it's always been something. I'm scared to get a therapist because I think I might. No, me. Yeah, same, same. Um, the stories you tell, I wouldn't believe you're. The stories you tell, I wouldn't believe you're not attracted to women somewhat. Yeah, no, like, wait, I think I read that right. Right? I think I read that right. Yeah. Um, when I look back at that stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, for sure, I am attracted to women because like, uh, it, I went through a lot, bro. My control is like right here. My control is like right here, and to turn on the TV, I would have to go over there to turn that on. So who the turn that on? But like also, I'm married to a man.
Bye. 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 Bye.
I didn't ask you what your sexuality was. I know that what.
And I'm married to him because I found him attractive too, and his personality. He was that 10%. And I just ended up marrying him, right? let me take a sip of water. Um, and my friend, this is after everything. My friend, this was after like this was like towards the end of my relationship with my ex, right? My friend, who already suspected that she might be a little that she's lesbian, was like, so like what about you? Have you ever thought of like a woman like that? Like, do you think that you would ever be curious or anything like that? Why did I sound like Tiana? Curious, curious, curious. Do you think that you would ever be curious to try something like that? And then, and then my ex was like, no, I don't like, that's not a lifestyle that I would choose. And so my friend was like, "Oh, well, I didn't choose it. I didn't choose to be attracted to women. I chose who I married, but I didn't choose to be attracted to women the same way. Like, and like it's not a lifestyle." And then my ex was like, "Well, I think for some people it is like for some people it is choosing to have that lifestyle, and for some people no, but like she's like low key biphobic." But she was like, "But like you ended up with a man, so um but that was kind of like a confirmation for my friend that like, oh yeah, she's super closeted. Super closeted to the point where like there might be a chance that she will never be outside of the closet." Hmm. Hmm. And then we broke up because I went to the hospital, and again, I wasn't really thinking about her, and that's when I knew that any love that I might have had for her is gone, and that's when I knew that like if I'm not thinking about you when I'm like at my most sick, then like why would I have you in my life? Like if I make it out of this, why would I keep you in my life? But I was ready to break up with her, but my mom was like, "No, you can't be the one to break up with her because like we don't want any problems, like none of that stuff. Like you can't dump her. Like she has to be the one to dump you." I regret listening to my mom, low key. Um, so what I did was I ghosted my ex for a week. I ghosted my ex for a week so that she can break up with me. And so that's worse. Well, I was trying to find loopholes because I was like, you know what, like I gotta break up with her, but it's very complicated. But I can't go into it. I can't go into it because um it involves people. I just don't want to give other people stuff. It's just between, but I'm giving you guys a rundown. Um One day she called me and she was like, "Hey, I have to talk to you." I was like, "Yes." This was after I left the hospital. I was still in a lot of pain. I was still very like sick, and I just wanted to get it over with. And I was like, "Okay, cool." So she came to my house. She picked me up, and she was like tapping on that wheel, like, and and I was like, "Yo, how have you been?" And she's like, "I've been okay," but not looking at me at all. And so I was like, "So where are we going?" And she's like, "I don't know. Where should we go?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know. Like you wanted to talk to me, so like, where do you want to talk to me?" I already knew what she was going to talk to me about, but I was like, "I mean, where do you want to talk to me at? Like, there's like the Target parking lot. There's like," and then she pulled away like 3 streets away from my house. She pulled over on the side. She pulled over on the side, and then she was like, "Yeah, I don't think I can do this anymore." And then I was like, "Yeah, I feel the same way." and she said, "You're just not what I expected you to be, and I think I need more. I need more, and you're not able to give me what I need." And I've been feeling this way for a while, but it's not. It's like not anything personal. And I was like, "Yeah, I understand. I'm clearly not in the headspace where I can be in a relationship, and I also need more too." That's what I was like. I also need more. I kind of feel like I wasn't receiving the care that I've needed during this difficult time. Like I've been going through a very, very rough time, and I have not been getting that, like any support. So I think this is good. And so we both cried, we both cried, whatever, and it was, I think, a 30-minute conversation. Mind you, she picks me up. I'm like crying. And like my family is having a little gathering in the backyard. So like my entire family, abuelita, the tias, the tios, are in the backyard and inside of the house. And after crying, I started getting a migraine because because I was so like malnourished and going through it. I wasn't getting the proper nutrients when I don't eat well or when I don't drink enough water. I start getting migraines. I start seeing the auras, and that's how I know that I'm getting a migraine. And I was getting a migraine in that conversation, right? And so she dropped me off. She dropped me off at my house, and my head pounding. I walk in, my eyes red, and my family looks at me, and they were like, "That quick? Like where? Like you guys weren't you guys going somewhere?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but I wasn't feeling good." And so then I went back into my room, and that was a good excuse because I was already sick. I went back to my room, napped away my migraine, and then I was like, I felt relieved after. I was like, fuck, wow. Like that was I think immediately after I woke up from that nap, immediately after, I realized that I was in an abusive relationship. Like I was actually in a relationship that was emotionally abusive. Not physically, but like emotionally abusive. I did not feel loved. I never felt handsome with her. I never got complimented. Um, if she would compliment me, it would be in front of friends or like adding on to something that my friends would say, or like, "Oh, you look good," but like not like it didn't feel real. On a bad like note, how he was very hurt by the church, and I was still in the church, and so like he left, and I let him leave. Like, do you guys remember that story? If you guys were there, oh yeah, him. I would. He was my best friend. We were really close. He understood me. He understood me in so many ways. And my friend was like, "Oh my," or my friend, my girlfriend of that time was like, oh my God, like why can't he just leave you alone?" I'm just like, what do you mean? What do you like? We're I spend more time with you. Like she would get upset anytime that I would spend time with him and not her. And it's like, I'm spending a lot of time with you. I'm giving you a lot of time. I deserve to have some friends. I don't want to just drop all my friends and just stay with you because like I need my friend time too. And she would be like, "Yeah, but like, I swear, like he wants to have you. Like he wants to have you like his little boyfriend." And I was just like, we're we're literally like I don't understand what the issue is here. Like he's one of my best friends, but I'm able to like separate, like, yeah, he's my best friend, you're my girlfriend, I'm gonna give you more time. But like
Friends who do stuff